Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be, You're Not Broken. Well, I've got an email here from a guy who's really struggling. He's got a bunch of things going on in his life. He says he used to be a drug addict. He's been clean and sober for 2.5 years. He also says he was a criminal and a drug dealer for a while. He feels a lot of guilt over his past, and he just has a difficult time being positive and looking forward to his life. So obviously we're going to talk about, he asked me, he was like, what can I do to stay positive? Because he feels guilty. Obviously he suffers from depression. He said even for a while he was in a mental institution for a while. So he's got a lot of difficult challenges and a lot of problems that he's trying to overcome. And on top of that, he says he's been addicted to porn since he was 6 years old. That's insane. So I got a quote that I wrote on this topic, and then we're going to go through his email and talk about what he needs to focus on to turn his life around and get him to the point where he can get up every day and be excited about his life and his future and what he's seeking to create. So the quote says, every human being needs a compelling vision and mission for their lives, an emotionally compelling reason to get up and take action every day towards being and becoming something that is exciting and exhilarating to them. Everyone has unique latent talents that are just waiting to be tapped, practiced, and refined. Success is a process. Feeling successful and fulfilled is the result of making progress towards your grand vision for your life. Whatever you endeavor to become or create in life, becoming great at anything takes at a minimum a decade or more to accomplish or make significant progress. Kids are always excited and relentless when they seek to become or create something. People start dying when they stop playing, lose hope, or have nothing to look forward to. In nature, when something stops growing, it starts dying and is eliminated. So let's look into what he can focus on so he can start growing and being excited about his life. This is something, I would say probably half my phone sessions that I do are with clients that are just in a difficult place. They may have some success financially or success in their business or their career, but it's just not doing it for them. And what I help them do is by asking questions, help them come up with what is most exciting to them, what's most compelling, and the things they love and most enjoy doing in life. So they can focus on developing those gifts, those skills, those talents that they naturally already have within inside them. It's like some people are just meant to be musicians and play music. Other people are meant to be teachers. Other people may be perfect for being an athlete or a CEO or a business person or maybe even a bartender. There's this place that I go to down in Delray with my family when I'm down there visiting, and there's a bartender that's been there like 5-6 years, and he fucking loves it. He thinks bartending is the greatest thing in the world, and he works at 2 different places. And they tend to, one of the places is a really high-end place, and the other place is more of a casual place people bring their boats to, and it's a great place to hang out. And he just loves chatting and talking with people, and he doesn't want to do anything else other than be a bartender. And he's the best kind of bartender if you've ever been to a bar to hang out and have a few drinks or have some lunch or some dinner with friends or family. It's fun to hang out with somebody who loves to talk and just loves doing it versus somebody who, like I once was when I tended a bar in my early 20s. It was fun for about 6 months, but after that I fucking hated it. It's not what I wanted to do with my life. And that's why the more, as a society, as a world society, if you will, more and more people get focused on doing something they love and enjoy, you're going to have a better experience everywhere you go, whether it's in the grocery store or putting gas in your car or sitting out at a bar or a restaurant. When you have more and more people working at careers and jobs or businesses that they really fucking love, they're going to do an outstanding job at it versus somebody that's just there earning a steady paycheck. I mean, let's look at the school system. We have a lot of teachers that absolutely suck ass and they can't be fired, and they bring down all the really great teachers that are there because they fucking love it. and they hold the rest of the students and the teachers and our society as a whole back, because we're not moving these mediocre people out of a career that they're just punching a clock for and collecting a paycheck, and having only people teaching that fucking love it, that feel like it's their calling in life. So let's go, with that in mind, let's go through his email. He says, Coach, do you have some advice for broken people? Well, at the end of the day, you are not broken. There is nothing wrong with you. You simply need to spend your time and your energy and focus your actions in a constructive way, doing something that is exciting and compelling, even though you may be working in a job you hate temporarily, until you eventually get to a place where you can do something you love. Maybe you have to go to school for something. Maybe you have to go and learn a trade. Maybe you have to practice something for a period of time. Because at the end of the day, just like Denzel Washington once said, anything that you practice, you will get better at. But it's like most of the people in this world get a job and they get good at that one particular job, and then they stop growing. They stop trying to develop their skills. They stop trying to grow their gifts, skills, and talents, and they want to hold on to that job and that steady paycheck for the rest of their life based on security, even though it's slowly killing them, because eventually they get to the point where they fucking hate getting up every day and going to work. And when you don't love what you're doing, it has a negative effect on your self-esteem and your overall quality of life. You're going to be less inclined to go to the gym and work out and take care of yourself. You're going to be less inclined to eat healthy. You're going to be less inclined to boot negative people out of your life when you're not very happy. Because if you're miserable, misery loves company. You attract how you act. And if you're miserable and you won't do anything about it, you're going to attract other people into your life who are living the same kind of life and lifestyle. And it justifies to you and it justifies to them why not changing anything is the right thing to do. Really important. He says, I've got some issues, and you said in one of your previous videos that sometimes we've got to give ourselves time to feel shitty emotions, give ourselves permission to heal. Exactly. If you look at kids and children, how they experience emotions, the good ones, the bad ones, the mediocre ones, they really get into the depth of their emotions without judgment, without fear, and without apology. I mean, how many times you see a kid happy one minute, the next minute they're bawling their fucking eyes out. Maybe they go take a nap afterwards. Maybe they fell down and got a boo-boo. Parent, mom, dad comes over, gives them a little bit of attention and love and says, you're fine. 2 minutes later, half hour after a nap, they're fine. And like life is the greatest thing in the world again. But when we grow up and become adults, we no longer experience our emotions. When we feel bad, we drink, we eat chocolate, we do drugs, watch TV, play music. We're always busy doing something to distract ourselves from what we don't want to feel. But kids do it. But as kids get older, parents and society says, no, especially when it comes to men, you can't experience those icky, nasty emotions. Be a man, suck it up. But you have to feel it, because when you don't feel emotions, especially ones that have a real strong emotional charge, it's going to get stored as muscle tension in your nervous system. And over time, over the decades in life, that muscle tension causes your muscles to get so hard that it literally bends your spine forward. As you see people that are really old and bent over, when that happens, eventually your body adapts by turning the cartilage into bone, and it literally fuses the vertebrae together. And then it's like once that happens, you're pretty much screwed. So it's really fucking important to feel your emotions, to embrace them without judgment, take some time alone to feel it, to heal it, so it can move through you and dissolve just like kids do. You have to do it, because over time, over the course of your life, that shit will build up and will make you sick. And wherever you're disconnected from, that's typically where disease shows up in your body. Like your navel area is your willpower center. So if you have something that you know you need to do, but you tend to not have the willpower to stick with it or do it or discipline yourself to do it, as you age, you become older. That's typically where disease shows up in your body. Your emotional center, where your rib cage comes together, and that V, that's where your pancreas are, your liver, that whole area. The disease shows up there. People that have emotional problems or aren't comfortable experiencing emotional. I mean, you look at perfect examples. Steve Jobs. I mean, he died of pancreatic cancer, and if you read his book and you read the books of other people that knew him, you can tell he had a real difficult time interacting with other people emotionally with them. Your heart center up here, right where those little two bony protrusions are in your chest, people that are disconnected from that area, that's typically, they end up having heart problems. It's definitely really fascinating, and I learned a lot of that stuff just from my network chiropractic doctors. It's really fascinating how the body works. Our body really becomes a reflection of our thoughts about ourselves, and eventually that becomes our prison. And it's like one of my good friends says, who's a network chiropractic doctor, your issues are in your tissues. It literally becomes locked into your tissues, and eventually it will shorten your life if you don't do something to resolve it. That's why I'm such a huge advocate of network chiropractic care, network spinal analysis. And for those, I did an article several years ago called How to Become More Confident and Sure of Your Actions, and if you've listened to my audiobook, I've referenced it in the audio version as well. And for those of you who haven't, you can download the audio version for free from audible.com by just subscribing. So he says, I'm a drug addict. I've been sober for 2.5 years, and it's done. I'm cured from this. Well, that's awesome. The one thing that you got to consider, any kind of addiction, the root cause of it, any kind of addiction counselor, they'll tell you that addiction, the root cause of it is a failure to feel. Or what I was just talking about kids and how they experience emotions versus adults, especially us guys. When we don't feel something or we can't experience something, we try to escape from it. He says, I'm a porn addict. I was watching porn since I was 6 years old, and I was watching internet porn when I was 10. It is in me. It will never go away. I don't know what to do with this. I can be sober for about 30 days, but that's it. At the end of the day, it's an escape. And if you were getting your brains fucked out by somebody who adored you and who you adored, you wouldn't have the need to be watching porn. I mean, plain and simple. But becoming successful with members of the opposite sex is a direct result of having a great life that you're proud of, that you're excited about, that you want to tell everybody about. When you love what you do, it shows. Just like in my videos, I really love what I do, and people comment all the time in my videos, why are you always fucking smiling so much in your videos? I enjoy this shit. I love seeing the success stories of how the things I've gone through in my life and I've transcended and I've learned from, how just sharing those stories and the things that I've learned have helped people that I've never met or even talked to. That's the kind of thing that, it's the juice that keeps me going, keeps me doing what I do, because a lot of people find value in it. And being successful at the end of the day, it's just like Albert Einstein said, instead of focusing on becoming a person of success, seek to become a person of value. In other words, develop your skills, develop your gifts, develop your talents, develop those things that are really exciting, really compelling, and really interesting to you. First and foremost, that has to be the number one thing in all of our lives. We have to create a life and lifestyle that we're proud of, that we love, that we get up every day and we're excited about. Because without that, eventually you lose hope. And when you lose hope, you got one foot in the grave. And we got whales that live to be, on average, I forget what kind it is, you can Google it, but they live to be like 254 years old on average. And here we got people that are dropping dead 40, 50, 60 years old. I mean, come on. We're supposed to be the smartest beings on Earth, but yet we've got animals that live on this planet that are living to be a quarter of 1,000 years old. I mean, come on. We can do better as a society. Way better. And if you look at the advances we're making with DNA, nanobot technology, 10, 15 years, we're going to be able to prolong human life indefinitely, as long as you don't go splat, obviously. He says, I was depressed, and still I am sometimes. I've got scars on my arm, and I was in a mental institution. I think I'm managing with this shit. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I ain't a doctor, I'm a coach. I basically teach success strategies, if you will. And you got to have something exciting and compelling. Because when you're suffering from depression, you don't have anything to be excited about. Now, some people have chemical imbalances, as many of you know. I've talked about in other videos. My mother was a psychotic schizophrenic. But what I know is her beliefs, her genetic predisposition, and her diet eventually led to that disease manifesting itself, and it took her life. I mean, she was only in her early 50s when she passed away. And it sucks, but nothing I can do about it. I don't have a time machine. I can't fix it. It is what it is. All you can do is decide what things like that mean to you. And at the end of the day, so what? You were in a mental institution. You're not anymore. You're out. You got yourself sober. That's something you should be fucking proud of. I mean, if you look at the opioid epidemic in the United States, it's fucking ridiculous. I mean, people are dropping like flies. Doctors prescribe these things like fucking Tic Tacs or M&Ms, and people get hooked on it, and then the doctor cuts them off once they're addicted, and then they start going to heroin, and eventually they OD on this stuff. I mean, it's fucking insane. He says, and I was a criminal and a drug dealer. Well, there's a very famous actor who's a multi-millionaire who in the 1970s, you can Google it, you can see his mugshot. His name was Tim Allen. He had a very successful show called Home Improvement in the 90s. You can Google it. I read about the guy. The guy got busted, and he spent several years in prison for distribution of cocaine. He turned his life around. He started focusing every day and becoming great at something he loved, which was obviously acting and comedy and humor. And he crushed it. I mean, he spent time in prison because of that, and he turned himself around, and he's one of the most successful comedic actors in history. If he can do it, you can do it. He made a choice. He made a decision. I'm tired of living this way. I'm going to do something about it. And obviously you got to that point in your life, you were tired of being a drug addict and a drug dealer, and you said, fuck this, I'm not doing it anymore. That's something to be proud of. You overcame that. You shouldn't look at it as something that, I'd be ashamed of. It's like, hey, this is who I was, and I overcame it. You could be, someday, 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, you can be a great success story and inspire other people to follow in your path. I wasn't doing it for money. I was doing it because I wanted to get revenge on people that laughed at me when I was junkie. But revenge is not sweet. And those things will haunt me for the rest of my life, and I don't know what to do. The past is the past. At the end of the day, the only thing, you can't do anything about it. You don't have a time machine. The only choice you have is what these things mean to you. So give it a compelling meaning. Say, I was once a drug addict and a drug dealer and a criminal, and I overcame it. And now I'm becoming something that I love. I'm becoming something that's awesome. And someday I'm going to be a great success story. It's going to inspire lots of people. That's a compelling meaning that you can give it. It's a conscious choice. You can choose to feel bad about the past, or you can give it a positive, empowering meaning, just like I have with all the shit that's happened to me in my life. I mean, everybody's got shit that's happened in their lives that the average person will go, whoa, wow, you overcame that? Oh my God, that happened to your family member, your friend? We don't have control over what happens to us in life. The only thing we ever have control over is the meaning that we give it. So give it a good meaning. In other words, ask yourself questions. What's good about this? How can I use this? How can I use this shitty fucked up situation or my shitty fucked up past to propel me forward? What can I learn from it? What is the gift in that? How can I become a better human being in the future by learning from the mistakes I made in the past and the pain that I caused myself and others in the past? If you seek, you will find. Your brain will give you an answer to whatever you're focused on. So focus on what good it can do for you, what you can learn from it, how it can help you become better in the future and not make the same kinds of mistakes. I think women can feel it. They can feel the death I wear inside me, and I don't know what to do. The most important thing is you need to get up every day and work at and practice at developing your gifts, your skills, and your talents. And I'm talking about things that you really love, things you really enjoy. I've done a bunch of articles over the year on discovering your purpose. So you can Google Corey Wayne on my YouTube channel, Discovering Your Purpose, and you'll find a bunch of those videos. If you still feel like you need help with it, you can book a phone session with me. But I've done enough videos on the topic, and if you're really honest and open, you should be able to do it on your own, especially if you can't afford my rates. Because quite frankly, my rates are pretty expensive because it's supply and demand. You know, I can't charge any less than I charge now because I just simply don't have the fucking time. It's just the way it is. That's what happens when you create a lot of value. People will pay you a lot of fucking money, and most of the people that I coach now are high income, high net worth people, multi-millionaires. And sometimes I come across people that save up for several months because they really want to talk to me and they really want my help. He says, there are days that are great, but sometimes some small detail can fuck me up, and I'm a little depressed kid with a fucked up brain. Well, again, feel it to heal it. Every day is a process. Every day, it's like what Eckhart Tolle's quotes I love. He says, give yourself permission to be a beginner every day. So if yesterday was a shitty, horrible day, guess what? You're going to go to sleep, and when you wake up, you got a brand new day, the sun's up, and you can do something completely different than what you did the day before. So what if you had a shitty week the week before, or a shitty month? Today's a brand new fucking day. You have a choice and control over what you want to do and who you want to become. I would also highly recommend that you watch the video, it's on YouTube, of Steve Jobs. He did it was a graduation address that he did. I think it was back in 2006 at Stanford. So if you just Google that, I think it's like 10, 15 minutes long. It's fucking brilliant. He totally talks about, because at the time he had almost died. I think he got a liver transplant at the time, and it saved his life. And so obviously that was somebody that really, he came right up to death's door, and it helped him reflect upon his life and what he wanted to do, and also realize that life's really fucking short. And there's no reason to not do what's exciting and compelling to you. And I'll have my assistant, if you're going to watch it, you want to watch this video and read the article on my website, she'll post that video on there as well. But if you Google YouTube, Steve Jobs, Stanford commencement address, I think 2006, that'll come up. It's one of the best, most positive, uplifting videos. And he basically tells the story of how he did what he did, how he became, what he focused on, what his mindset was, how he looked at problems, how he looked at obstacles, how he looked at challenges, and how he became this great, amazing success in his life. He says, I try to be positive, but sometimes I can't. That's okay. I have days where I get up and things aren't going the way I want, or something happens, and it's like, fuck, now what? But at the end of the day, you got to look at, what do I need to do right now today? What actions must I do before I go to bed tonight that will move me maybe a few inches, maybe a few millimeters closer to my outcome and where I want to be? So if you'd like to get my help personally, you can go to my website, click the products tab at the top of your screen on any page, and book a coaching session with yours truly. And I will talk to you soon.